Hey guys, it's Tom here. It's good to see you again. It's been a while, as it usually is. Um, but I just had to make this video whilst the thoughts were still in my head. It's kind of late at night and I'm pretty tired. Sometimes that actually equates to me making a better video because I'm just a bit more, I don't know, don't care as much for some reason. Just kind of let me say what's on my mind a bit easier. So today something happened which when I start to explain it, it might not seem like a big thing, but I guess you could say it was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. For a long time, I have kind of looked I've kind of felt like I've been looking at society from this kind of third person perspective. I just feel like my whole life I've just been observing things. And I've kind of thought that things are pretty crazy and pretty mad, to be honest. But in a very perverse way, um, in a way that's not immediately obvious. It's kind of under the surface, but yet its effects are real, and they seem to be getting. I feel they're getting worse. I think they're intensifying. I can literally feel that. But anyway, today I'll just go straight. I'll just tell you. Today, I was driving for work. I work for a family-run garden nursery business, so like organic stuff, nice plants and things, and also do some landscaping and gardening work as well for them. And today we were delivering some plants to a kind of a country show about 2 hours from where I live here in Britain. All nice, went well. And on the way back, we were driving through this town, very small little town, and the traffic was moving really slowly. And I was like, why? What's holding? It shouldn't be moving this slow. It usually moves quite easy, and it's not rush hour or anything. But anyway, ended up being sat in this traffic for about 15 minutes or so, slowly crawling forward every now and then. And eventually I saw what was causing the problem. And it was just a small pedestrian crossing, the kind where someone presses the button to cross the road and the lights turn red to stop the traffic so they can cross. Now, that was it. This was just a road with a lane going in either direction. There wasn't a crossroad. There was no other main road, no other traffic, and there was no people around. Absolutely no one around. And what had happened was at this pedestrian crossing, the main lights had obviously had broken, or they were being replaced. They had been taken away, and they had put these temporary little traffic lights, which they seem to be everywhere here in Britain, everywhere. These little traffic lights that just get left. And something had gone wrong with the timing on them, or they'd malfunctioned or whatever. I mean, they shouldn't have even been going red because there was no one there to press the button for them. But they seemed to be letting through maybe 30 seconds of traffic on a green light and then turning red. Or they were just stuck in red. But some people obviously, knew what was going on, and they would drive forward and go over through these red lights and carry on. Yet the amazing thing was I was sat there and I could see this about 100 meters down from where my car was. And these two cars on both sides so my lane and the oncoming traffic just sat there for about 10 minutes in front of this red light, and no one was moving. They just sat there, and I just couldn't believe it. I was just like, it's obvious there's not any risk that you're not causing any offense to go through. These lights have broken, they're not working, but they wouldn't move. And the tailback was huge on either side of this road. And it was just so obvious. It just seemed to be so obvious what was going on. And like I say, no danger whatsoever, no oncoming traffic. There was no, just any possibility that these lights should be red for this long. It never, ever are they red for that long. But people wouldn't move. They just sat there. No one was doing their horns, nothing. Just resigned to sitting there. Eventually, a motorcyclist drove along, and in my opinion, people who ride motorcycles are a lot more turned on about traffic and the road and stuff, because they're have to be a lot more aware. And this motorcyclist drove all the way down. He stopped. He looked around, kind of like, what's going on here? He leant over, kind of tapped on the window of the car at the front of the queue, had a little chat, shrugged his shoulders, and drove through the red light. Then everyone in my queue started to move. The front car followed him, and everyone started going. It's hilarious. It just took one person to go, and then everyone went. Yet the depressing thing was, the queue of cars on the right-hand side of this lane just stayed there. The guy just would not go. He just sat in his big lorry and he just stayed there. He would not go. He's like, well, my light's still red. I'm not going to move. It's a red light. I can't go. I must stay here. And anyway, the tailback on the other side of the road, it ended up being about literally 3 miles long. It went back down a motorway slipway, it went round a roundabout, and it went all the way into the next town down the road. I couldn't believe it. People would have been stuck in that thing for about an hour, but the rate it was moving. So what is the point of this little story? It is not the fact that the lights were faulty and they should have been changed or whatever, and these pathetic highway patrols or whatever, not doing their job. It's the fact that people cannot think for themselves nowadays. It's the fact that people are so conditioned and live in so much fear of being wrong or being told off or doing something, that they could get caught because the light is red, that they can't engage common sense thinking capacities. And I know it seems like a kind of a silly little example. It seems kind of a shallow thing to maybe get irate about, but it's the deeper issue that lies behind why people act and behave in this way. And it's just, I just had enough of it. I just had enough of this society of just people who can't think for themselves because they've been so conditioned since basically they're 4 years old. By the time most people are 16, they've been in education for 11 to 12 years. And what does our version of education basically consist of? It consists of telling people that they are either right or wrong. That's it. It's not think for yourself. Children are not asked, how would you work this problem out? How would you solve it? What would you do differently? It's, what is the answer? You are right or you're wrong. Now, people don't understand just what a profound impact this has on their psyche. The only reason we consider it normal is because it happens to pretty much all of us and we don't know any different. So we say it's normal. That's just how it is. That's society. It makes sense. But it doesn't. When you think about it, it doesn't make sense. And the effects are profound. They last for most of your life unless you think for yourself and start to challenge it. And this is why no one in this queue of cars seemed to be doing anything, because they were in the same boat. They've had the same programming. When a child, in the first 6 years of their life, when they first go into education, their brain is so at the most malleable point in their existence. And education is like installing an operating system on a new computer. Afterwards you can install new programs, you can remove programs, but the operating system stays the same. And the first years of education and the first years of your contact with your parents and the environment, it's installing the operating system. And everyone gets the same operating system because education or the curriculum is the same across the board. And basically what this does is breeds a race of good workers who will only do what they're told because they've been told that things are right or wrong, and don't think for yourself. And these traffic lights were the perfect example of this. If it's green, you're right, you can go. Red, no, you stop, you stay, don't think for yourself, that's it, no way. Now I know they serve their purpose, but in this situation, the point is the indoctrination of people not thinking for themselves, of not questioning things, was so strong that even when it was blatantly obvious of what the situation was, even when they could see what was being caused, the chaos that was being caused, chaos that went on for miles and was disrupting hundreds of people in their day, they still wouldn't move. They still won't do anything. And I find that terrifying. I find that terrifying how that is the mentality of society. And I think it's getting worse. I think it's getting worse because just everything from our media to our entertainment to a lot of the things that are, popular and just perpetuated, getting more and more just to a level where people don't think and don't question. People get angry and irate about things and they go on a Twitter witch hunt. They spout an opinion before thinking about it, about what they're saying. And then suddenly everyone feels like they have to have the same opinion, lest they get targeted or isolated from the group opinion because they're going to be wrong, even though the group opinion might be wrong itself. It's nuts. I've known for a long time why society is going more down this road. And I might talk about that more in other videos. I know a lot more about why. I'm not ignorant about those things, but it's just when you start to see it in real life, and it was just a small thing, but like I say, it was just the straw that broke the camel's back. I just had enough of it. Anyway, there we go. There's a bit of a rant for you. Certainly enlivened me a bit, getting that off my chest. Nice to make a video again, and hopefully the next one will be giving you something a bit more than just me ranting about something. Anyway, let's end this on 12 minutes. See you soon, guys. Bye bye.